Hey everybody,
Hi, we're back.
for another video. Ah, I sound so like disinterested. I'm just tired.
Well, being creative types is busy work.
Yeah,
It's
but
busy.
so fucking I know you
So
want
what
to.
are we doing?
I know you want to talk about the Venom trailer, so let's just get that out of the way. Oh, we're just gonna keep this the way we did
We
it
do
last.
a formal intro?
I mean, I just think we keep it the same way we did last time, man. Just
How did we
fucking
do it last time? It's been weeks.
like we were just freeform.
Oh, freeform. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, it was
See,
just,
that's what happens when it's been this long. When you're busy.
yeah, fucking.
There's shit going on.
I'm fucking like 4 months away from graduating, so they ramped it up.
Well, shit.
Well, shit.
But okay, yeah, we're back. We're doing another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is we can only hope that the situation with our work can improve as time passes, and that you lovely people stand by us.
Exactly.
But enough is, I think they call it waffling in the UK.
We call it we call it like not having enough fucking hours in the day in the States.
Oh, not enough time.
Yep.
Not enough goddamn time. But okay, there's a whole shitload of topics to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Just a whole shitload. Like
fucking,
weeks.
Yeah, fucking. Because I do want to talk about that Venom trailer.
Okay, so we're kicking this off with, I don't know, there's a lot of stories big and small, but right before we started recording, I mentioned this. So, the first teaser trailer for Venom came out.
Everybody needs to calm the fuck down!
For some dumb reason, everybody's losing their fucking minds. Well, not everybody, but you know what we mean.
Yeah, fucking like, they didn't show Venom in the trailer. Motherfuckers, I love you, but some of y'all are motherfuckers. Because Rob Liefeld, did you see Rob Liefeld tweeted about this?
No, I did not.
Rob fucking Liefeld, who hasn't been relevant since fucking 1991, fucking was like, oh, Sony, you should have shown Venom in the trailer. It's a disappointing trailer. Like, if they would have showed Venom, I would have been disappointed. You don't need to show him. This trailer was basically, hey, Tom Hardy's in the movie.
Well, I know, like, every time this comes up, I have to say it again and again. One of the biggest things this movie can have on its side in terms of marketing is subtlety.
Mm-hmm.
Venom is the big ticket item, is the selling point of the movie. If you show your audience that, I'm almost 100% sure people are going to lose interest.
Yep.
That's the big event. That's the big ambiguous reveal that essentially, but it's the face of your movie.
Yeah, and then, you know what?
I mean, that first teaser poster that they revealed,
yep,
showing the eyes, the very mysterious eyes,
yep,
the logo. That's a perfect poster in my eyes. That's a perfect teaser poster.
Yep.
Because it gives us a nice hint of what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
And it's building up hype by giving us anticipation for that reveal.
Yeah. I'm even surprised. Honestly, I didn't know if we were going to see Venom in this. I honestly thought they would at least let us hear the voice, but they didn't even do that. So, like, good fucking job.
That's why I love this teaser. This is exactly what a teaser,
yep,
and a trailer in general should do.
Yep.
This sets the bar for what we can expect from its tone, from its visuals, from the kind of story they want to tell, to just Tom Hardy's fucking awesome acting.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Like, this is only like a small little glimpse into the film, and I'm already in love with Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock.
Yeah. Fucking,
I love his accent. I kind of love the grungy look he's rocking.
He kind of reminds me of Rocky.
Oh, I was gonna say it's basically his character from The Drop, but you know,
mm-hmm.
But Eddie Brock instead. Like, because when I heard his accent, that was like the first thing I thought of. Like, he's exactly like that sounds exactly like his character from The Town.
Yep.
but I love it because that was a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, that here's the thing. Like, honestly, what voice Tom Hardy uses in a movie is just as big a reveal as, like, Venom will be. You know what I mean? Because I was waiting for the trailer. When I first heard the voice the first time I watched it, I'm like, okay, is this Tom Hardy? And then I'm like, yeah, okay, this is Tom Hardy.
Yeah. Well, again, he's just got one of those very distinct voices, and he does really good voices for his characters.
Yeah, I mean, he never seems like he's putting on a voice. That's just how the character sounds.
Yeah. Again, like The Drop, you have Mad Max Fury Road. I love the voice he does that for a little you hear from him. Mm. That kind of stuff, it's just great. I love it.
I love it.
And I just love that that this teaser doesn't blow its wad by showing all of its big reveals, like getting its biggest card deck out of its table.
I mean, what more do you want? They showed us the symbiote. They showed us Eddie Brock, and fucking like what more do you want?
They showed us some very suspicious stakes here.
Yep.
Kind of like the
is that an alien ship? Is that an alien ship?
Maybe we don't know, and that makes it all the more interesting.
Yeah. Is the fucking is the symbiote from space? Is the symbiote sentient? Is it actually part of this alien race?
Yeah, where the hell did this thing come from? We don't know. Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
Yep.
I was blown away. I was mentally crossing my fingers throughout the entire teaser, like, oh god, are they gonna spoil it? They're gonna give us a glimpse of Venom. Are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it? Like, they did do it. Mm-hmm. They had enough restraint to keep it in their pants and not ruin it for everybody. Yeah. I love that.
And considering this is from the director of Zombieland, I was really surprised at how this looked visually.
Yeah, this is a tight-running ship right now. Mm-hmm. Sony, we all know what their reputation is like these days. So the fact that they're handling the approach to this movie from a marketing standpoint so far I'm just loving it.
Well, I mean, hey,
I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Hardy gave him some pointers.
To be honest, like we all thought, Sony is kind of shit. That Jumanji movie, though, was pretty decent.
I didn't see it. I really don't.
It had a really bad trailer to a decent... It's the best video game movie.
I'll have to disagree with you because... There's some pretty corny, decent video game movies out there that aren't good, but are decent. I know a lot of people to this day still want to give Assassin's Creed shit, but as a fan of the games and as a moviegoer, I found things to like it in both areas. I thought it was a pretty decent movie. It wasn't trying to win awards. It was just, hey, how can we make a good video game movie based on this big franchise? And they did an okay job.
It would have made a better show.
Well, that's why I'm looking forward to the animated series.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
because I think when doing an Assassin's Creed show would be just kind of difficult because all of the pieces and elements there. Be great for an animated show, be terrible for a live action show because God knows Sci-Fi is going to get their hands on it and fuck it up.
Damn it, Sci-Fi! It's not Sci-Fi anymore. It's Sci-Fi.
Jesus Christ!
They can't even fucking spell it right.
I'm not. Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. But Venom looks great.
So excited. I love Venom.
Great. I cannot wait. This is probably going to be my most... This is definitely
and
up
they
there.
Didn't even, and here's the thing. They didn't even show us... They didn't even, like... If Tom Holland is in this movie, congrats on not showing him.
Yeah.
They could have easily done that.
Yeah, and I like that too. Like, this is Venom. This is Eddie Brock's story.
Right. Don't
muddy things up or, put an imbalance in your storytelling by having Spider-Man in the movie, allegedly. Mm-hmm. Like, don't do that.
Although, I don't know how true that is because, like, this is taking place in San Francisco. And, like, Spider-Man's in New York.
I don't believe in the validity of this. I think if it's going to happen, whatever. But if I could have it my way, I want this to just be his story.
And I agree with you. But yeah, I just, and then there's a rumor that Carnage is going to be in the movie.
Yeah, well, we heard those rumors before about what's his name, actor who I've seen in a couple movies.
Yeah,
prior.
I know.
Yeah, there was buzz around that, and those turned out to be completely false. So now that there's new rumors still insisting that the character is going to be in the film, I don't buy it. I think that would be great for a sequel or something else in the future. But for when your movie's called Venom, fucking focus on Venom. It really within the if I'm based on what the movie's inspired by, and the context of what we already know, this is kind of an origin story. So. And it's only after a while, it's after a significant amount of time after Brock is established as Venom that Carnage comes into the picture.
Right.
So to have him show up and be the sort of potential villain of the story makes absolutely zero sense. If this is pretty much an origin story.
Yeah. Well, and then it's
allegedly, again, we don't know. Based on what I'm getting from the teaser and what we do know, it's still about Brock becoming Venom. And what ensues from there. Right. For all we know, what we have seen in the teaser could be on a mix of different time frames. For all we know, the movie could be a few weeks or a few months after he gets the symbiote, and there's some stuff in between that explains how that happened.
Right. Well,
as long as it's told well.
Right. I mean, it's just like, yeah. I like I said, I'm just. Because you know that hospital scene is going to be the first transformation. That's the first transformation.
Yeah, that's going to be the make it or break it for what kind of tone this movie's going to have.
Which, this, give it to him. This looks like a straight up horror movie.
Yeah, it's like while Fox is doing whatever the hell they're doing with New Mutants, this is Sony's sort of this.
Well, no, remember, Fox doesn't exist anymore.
Well, we'll talk about that in a moment, but you get what I'm saying. I would love this to be a straight-up horror film because if you read the standalone Venom stuff, there is some straight-up freaky stuff in those comics.
Yep.
Venom is a very, very interesting and distinct character that, I'm glad that it's taken this long to get a movie because if it had been made earlier, it probably would have been shitty, cheesy, and not as intense.
It would have been Topher Grace.
It would have been, and already with that teaser, we already have great confirmations that Tom Hardy's is basically just gonna blow Topher Grace out of the. No offense, you're an okay dude. You seem like a cool guy, but you had shit. You didn't have really anything to work with, and your gut instinct to sign on to Spider-Man 3 without even reading the fucking script was not your best move.
Did he not read the script?
Yeah, he signed on. He signed on without reading the script.
Oh, wow.
Which, I thought it was, maybe he read the script and thought, this would be different for me as an actor. But no, he just pulled the trigger on that thing.
Well, hey, they probably gave him a good paycheck.
Possibly. But Tom Hardy signed on, and he knows and the man picks his projects.
Oh, God, yeah.
The man knows what he's doing. So I was a little skeptical at first, but, I thought, this is a man who knows that almost most of the time, 95% of the time, knows how to pick the right projects.
Except for that, this is war movie.
Yeah, that's part of that 5% where shit happens.
Yeah. Well, he's
atoned for the sins of that film and has done way better.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee you that was a film that was shot before he got famous, and then they were like, "Oh shit! Well, we can fucking release this now."
Yeah. Yeah, because he had been in the acting scene since the 2000s, since the early 2000s, but didn't really escalate in popularity until the late 2000s.
Well, he was big around 2009. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at his filmography, he has a notable some mostly television under his belt.
He's what Ryan Gosling wants to be.
Oh, burn.
And I say that as someone who genuinely likes Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I do too. I didn't really think too much about him. I didn't think too much about him back then, but now that I've seen a lot more of his movies and can appreciate what he brings to the table, yeah. As someone who recently saw Blade Runner 2049, it just is another example of what I appreciate. the kind of appreciation I have for what he brings to the films he's a part of.
Although Tom Hardy would have been so much better.
Maybe. I think he would have been better in like a completely different sci-fi movie, because if history has told us anything, science fiction and Tom Hardy don't go well together.
Well, I mean...
Some of you may pick up on what I'm talking about.
Oh, where he played Shinzon?
Shinzon, yes. But that's like way back at the fucking day. Who knows? It could be different now.
Yeah.
It could be like, hey, Tom Hardy, you do a big epic science fiction movie. All right, I'm game.
Yeah. Fucking I will only do this movie if I can do a funny accent and no one can understand my dialogue.
I want to be intentionally bad. Because that's just how I roll.
That's just how I fucking roll. But yeah, fucking like...
Venom looks great, and it's just confusing that there are people that are pissed about this. I think we are very disillusioned by shitty spoilery trailers.
Yeah.
Where nobody wants to make a good trailer anymore that builds up hype, and that can generate hype but also generate mystique towards a project.
Right.
This does both of those things pretty much perfectly.
Right.
I mean...
Now, the argument people are saying is they didn't show Venom because fucking he looks terrible or this movie sucks.
You don't know that!
Fucking... I do have one question for you, though. Because I'm sure you've seen this trailer more times than I have. Is there just unfinished CGI in the trailer? Because, like, there's moments, like, where, like that part where, like, he, like, sticks his hand out and, like, people, like, fly back, but, like, there's no, like, tentacles or anything, like... Because Venom's not psychic, so I don't understand what, like...
Maybe it's probably just one of those few confusing shots that has an explanation in context. What I'm getting is that this movie is still very much coming along. It would be just one of those isolated instances where it just has such a very seemingly short production schedule that, it's like, oh, okay, our movie comes out towards the end of this year. We want to generate hype and suspense towards this film. Let's push out a teaser trailer that, sets some things up but doesn't reveal too much. But at the consequence of some of those shots, not looking entirely finished.
Except for the... so it's the exact opposite of the Han Solo trailer, where it's like, let's release our first trailer 3 fucking months before the movie comes out, just like another movie that came out last year called The fucking Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about that trailer.
Because I get the... go ahead.
I don't like the trailer. I don't like this, not because I think it looks bad, even though I think it looks monochromed to shit. I don't like the idea of a Han Solo movie. Han Solo is not a character until he shows up in the original Star Wars. You know who this character is. So doing the idea of a prequel movie, what are we going to gain? He's already with Chewie. We know he's not gonna die. We know... Oh, and he's got that mysterious woman that he's flirting with in the trailer. Oh, gee, I wonder what happens to her. Or what happens to that relationship?
There's just nothing interesting going on here.
What? I would have much preferred a Lando movie.
Yeah! I mean, I honestly don't care for the guy, whatever his name is, playing Han Solo in this film, but I immediately fell in love with the idea of Donald Glover playing a young Lando.
Right, that smile is the most charismatic thing in the trailer.
Right? It's... Mm-hmm. I just love that. I just love, like, why not just make a movie about Lando? We don't get to see a whole lot of him.
Yeah, fucking...
He's awesome.
There's an arc there. How does a character go from being a scoundrel Han Solo type to running a mining facility? Like, what is the arc for that character? And that whole thing with, like, the tentacle monster at the end of the trailer? Why? Looking at it, like, we have Chewbacca, Lando, and Han in the Millennium Falcon. And the unidentified... I don't know if the girl has a name. I don't know her character name. Fighting a tentacle monster. Okay? we know that nothing's gonna happen because the Falcon makes it, Han makes it, Chewie makes it, and Lando makes it. That scene is entirely irrelevant.
Yeah.
That's the problem that I have with these spin-off movies, is that they don't add anything to the universe.
No, and the same argument, I mean, regardless of the success and whatever for Rogue One, a lot of that same argument can be applied to that, where we know what happens, we're just getting a glorified visual for it, and in this case, we're getting a story that, yes, to an extent, we don't really know, but we can fill in the gaps with our imagination.
But we don't need to know it.
Well, like I said,
you do not know the story of how this Red Bull in my hand got made. You don't know the history of this can. But is it relevant to me enjoying it? Not really.
Well, that's an interesting way to put it, and you're absolutely right. It doesn't really matter. We can just use our imaginations, or hell, not even think about it at all, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah, like it's just because these spin-off movies, you have the opportunity to do something different. Do the Birth of the Jedi movie. Do a Mandalorian movie. Do a movie about
Darth Maul.
Do a Darth Maul. Do a Suicide Squad style bounty hunter movie. Do a movie about a squad do a movie about a squad of clone troopers who didn't participate in Order 66 and went off the grid and had to survive.
Didn't that happen in Star Wars Rebels?
I don't know, did it?
I watched a video earlier today about why Star Wars Rebels sucks, and it mentioned that in some of the episodes, the notable clone troopers from the show, from the Clone Wars series, actually come back, return in the show, but much older and, kind of distant because they're living together as hermits.
Okay, what happened to them? Let's do that as a movie. If you're gonna do these movies...
Or you could turn 1313 into a fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Star Wars game that never could, because apparently everybody wanted it, but it just got shafted because fuck you, Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Turn that into a movie.
Or people are like, I want an Obi-Wan movie that takes place between 3 and 4. Why?
Why do you care?
You know what he was doing in between episode 3 and 4? He was living as a strange old hermit. There was no action scenes. There was no... people are like, oh, you can bring back Darth Maul. Here's my thing. Why bring back Darth Maul for the Obi-Wan movie? Because those two... It's not like bringing back Sabretooth and Logan, where those characters had an intimate connection. It would have been, oh, hey, you killed my master. I killed a lot of people's masters. I cut off your legs. Oh, you're kind of a dick.
And another thing I don't like, I mean, it's already been said, this also happens in Star Wars Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it means that much to you, go seek that out.
Right,
don't make a studio invest millions of dollars in giving you, and hell, even if these questions are burdening you, like, what did Obi-Wan do between episodes 3 and 4? I'm pretty sure the expanded universe has your answers.
Yeah.
Most of what we mentioned here has been answered in the expanded universe.
Well, and also, people are like, the expanded universe doesn't count anymore. The expanded universe is pretty much the same up until the end of episode 6. Because Disney does not give a fuck about anything before Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
They want to leave that shit alone. It's everything after that's the problem.
Yeah, and I mean, that does create a problem, and I think they're well within their rights to tell some new stories. I don't know if we want to get into the whole Last Jedi discussion. I still haven't seen the movie. You obviously loved it, and it's creating an interesting new direction for Star Wars. But for everything made up to the towards the conclusion of Return of the Jedi, you have years upon years of stories that can answer your questions. Don't make studios invest millions of dollars and months of production to provide. Well,
there could be interesting stories in that, but don't do stories about characters we already know. Here's the thing: look at the characters that people want. They want an Obi-Wan movie. He's a main character in he appears in all 6 of the original movies. Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3, Episode 4, Episode 5, Episode 6. He appears in all of them.
Yep.
There's nothing left for that character. Han Solo. He's in 4 of the Star Wars movies. He's in Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, and Force Awakens. Why do we need to know more about him? He doesn't become a character. His arc begins in the original Star Wars. That is his character arc.
Yeah.
So the movie can't have him become a good person. So, like, you can't have him become, like, you know, it would be like making the Young Indiana Jones adventures. And yes, I'm taking a stab at that show because that show sucked.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of this stuff that can either be, that we either don't need to know or can be left to the imagination.
Exactly.
We don't need to have this stuff. We don't need to be pounded over the head with this information because it's either unnecessary or it's unnecessary. It's fine.
Yeah, like
there are plenty of other opportunities to tell all kinds of interesting stories in this large galaxy.
Yeah, or people are like,
don't waste your time.
People are saying they want a Yoda movie. Why? I don't care about a Yoda movie.
Do you really want to see an alien organism's descent into insanity living alone on a planet?
Yeah, do you want to see... Because, you know...
Because if you want to see that, just fucking watch Moon.
Oh, Moon's such a good movie.
Right?
Yeah, fucking Sam Rockwell. I love him. No, But yeah, do we want to talk about you want to talk about the other trailer that came out?
Which one are we talking about?
Deadpool.
Okay. So, going back to trailers that do their shit right, Deadpool 2 had a great trailer.
Yeah.
And it's the most unorthodox approach to a trailer, but as they proved with the first movie, they don't give a shit and people still enjoy it.
I got your stones right here. It's just weird to think that that 3 movies come out in the same month that are owned by Disney and they're all blockbusters and 2 of them have Josh Brolin.
What a wonderful world, I guess.
No, we got Infinity War, we got Han Solo, and then we got Deadpool 2 all come out in May.
Wait, is Josh Brolin going to be in Han Solo?
No, he's Thanos in Infinity War.
No, but you said Han Solo.
Yeah, Han Solo, Deadpool 2, and Infinity War.
But
Josh Brolin's playing Cable, and he's playing Thanos.
No, I know that, but what about who's he playing in Han Solo?
He's not playing anyone in Han Solo. I said 2 out of the 3.
Oh shit! Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
I got confused.
No, what do you?
No, I did know that, and it still makes me laugh that he's playing one of the greatest. That he's playing an underwhelming interpretation of one of comic books' greatest villains, and then playing what looks to be a very interesting take on one of comic books' other greatest characters.
Now, here's my question: do you think that they're gonna do the gag of unfinished special effects actually in the movie, or was that just for the trailer?
I have a feeling that was just for the trailer because that's just a typical because I just love that the writers intelligently love to just throw at us the fourth wall breaking nature of the character.
I love that. It's not like we're trying to remove a mustache.
Yeah, well, I love that. I like the awareness to that this is a character that's very much aware that he's in a fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how funny would it be if he was, as the movie's being made, as it's in production and getting it through its marketing, if he was fucking around with that. I love that approach because it makes you feel like as much as he's a character in the world of the movie, he's a character in the real world that's affected by what's happening as the movie's being made. Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting approach to this version of the character.
Yeah,
and plus Ryan Reynolds just keeps astounding me again and again with the things he can say and do as Deadpool.
Exactly,
it's funny.
I love the sheriff. I love the Sheriff Woody Pool.
Yes. Yeah, I just love that how this is a movie that he's the star, but at the same time, it's almost like he's making the movie himself and is just fucking around the whole time.
Well, and fucking you know what I think actually helps with Deadpool's kind of like fourth wall delivery as well?
What's...
Because the character wears a mask, they can just go back if there's like a pop culture thing before the movie comes out. Like say you know, knock on wood, God forbid, like I don't want this to happen, but like if Betty White died like a week before the movie came out, they could go back in ADR and add that in. Where it's like, and I'm still upset that Betty's dead.
Yeah, they could totally do that. There's an advantage to that.
Mm-hmm.
That due to the nature of how this character is and the way they shoot it, that they can much like how television shows like Family Guy have to normally kind of predict and go along with these things as they happen or do them later. Mm-hmm. They can do this as it's happening in response.
Yep.
And it's more impactful.
Yep. You know. But yeah.
It's like I can't wait to see what kind of jabs he's gonna make towards just everything around him in the film.
Oh, you know. Well, you know, there's gonna be a couple Infinity War jokes. You know, there's gonna be.
Yeah, and how pissed he is that he's not in the film.
Yeah. You know, fucking. That's probably gonna be an after credit scene. He's gonna.
Yeah.
That's probably.
He's gonna poorly green screen himself into footage from the movie. Like, okay, for those of you that desperately want me to be a character in Infinity War, here's the closest thing you're gonna get to it, motherfuckers. Roll the footage.
Yep. Fucking like I still think it'd be funny if he showed up in Infinity War as like, hey, Cap, good to see ya. Who are you? My name's Deadpool, and don't worry, we're gonna be the best friend. We're gonna be best friends, and guess what? You guys can now use the M word. Mangoes? No, mutants. I can use the word motherfucker, though.
Right. Or, it'd be funny, like, it's me, Deadpool, but the family-friendly version that the studio had to go through immense lengths to make happen, so... Yeah. It's the same me, but, slightly different. Can't drop as many F-bombs or swears or dirty jokes as I normally could. But, still the same.
Yeah. Fucking, he walks in wearing Mickey Mouse ears. I'm the mascot of an evil corporation. Ho ho!
We're just giving Ryan Reynolds all of his best material for another movie. Jesus Christ. Like, take the hit, man.
Take the fucking hit. No, fucking, But yeah, no,
it's a great trailer.
Yeah, Deadpool 2 looks great.
It looks great, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in the theater.
What's next on the... What do we want to talk about?
What else? Well, I mean, now that we have to mention the whole Marvel and Fox thing.
Oh, fucking the Camcast thing? Camcast?
Well, now there's words going around that this whole merger situation between Marvel and Fox isn't really happening the way that we originally thought it would. At least according to Kevin Feige.
I mean, hey, fucking, I just don't want Disney to fucking own every goddamn movie I see.
No, and a lot of us can agree with that.
Fucking...
But here's the thing. I would love to see some of, if not all, of the greatest Marvel characters under the same roof, same production company, being in the same stuff, same universe, all that jazz. But if it means we're gonna get this cinematic, big blockbuster, family-friendly approach to all of them, it's going to soil it's really just going to continue to soil what I love about these things.
Right, like Disney would never have done Logan.
No, they wouldn't have.
Disney would never have done Deadpool. Disney, I don't think, would have done New Mutants.
Yeah, and there's an interesting thing that I'm trying to figure out, like, when's the best time to bring it up, but it's just going to keep adding to the deteriorating disillusion of these properties.
Yeah.
I had a conversation about this earlier, but all of the current media that we have is pretty much ruining the comics.
Yeah.
And putting the few properties that Fox owns under the MCU banner potentially is going to ruin them.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be blunt with this information, but what little we have left that hasn't been entirely tainted, depending on how you perceive it, is going to be ruined if it's all under the MCU banner.
Right.
Because for those of you that don't know, when comic book movies take unorthodox or very inaccurate approaches to characters and movies and other things, it's not a huge. It tends to become public. It tends to become public knowledge and the mass general understanding of these things, and that shit tends to bleed into the comics.
Like fucking I had someone fucking argue with me that Spider-Man never had web shooters.
Right, that's the example I was going to bring up. I watched the video on this earlier today from this new channel that I'm really into. Great stuff. That brings up this exact argument, and it reminded me how surprised I was that there were a lot of people for a long time that thought Spider-Man had organic webs.
Right.
For years, they thought that because of Sam Raimi's movies. Like, have you even read a Spider-Man comic, people?
And like, look,
have any actually sat down and read the comics?
Well, and here's the thing, and that's fine. They could, that doesn't affect me. But like, when it starts affecting like them being like, oh no, you're wrong, Mister, you've been reading the comics instead of going outside and playing with other children when you were, in your childhood years.
Right, yeah. It's like, oh wait, I don't know what I'm talking about? I think my giant stack of comics would beg to differ.
Exactly. Be like someone telling you the Punisher uses rubber bullets.
I'd probably be inclined to slap them in the face, and I tend not to go take the violent approach. But if someone were to say that to me, I would be very angry with them. Like, I'm sorry, what did you say? Sorry, I didn't hear you because it sounded like you just called my favorite anti-hero a pacifist.
Yeah.
Which he is not.
Yeah, Frank Castle's a hippie who uses rubber bullets and loves everyone.
Yeah, no. And the thing is, that stuff like that's bleeding, that's causing this very poor, toxic bleeding effect into the comics, where what's becoming general knowledge because of the media is affecting factual canon material in the comics. Well,
and also, fucking just it's and because I get why the comic. I'm sorry. Do you mind? Do you want to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. Because it's like what happened when Iron Man came out. Before Iron Man, the movie came out, Iron Man was not a very popular comic. Like, it wasn't, it wasn't doing that well. Movie came out, and Iron Man became one of the best-selling books at Marvel. Now Marvel, not understanding the medium, ironically, thought that people who went and saw the movie, everyone who went and saw the movie, went and picked up an Iron Man comic, which is why when a movie comes out, they always do a new number one. The problem is that's not what's happening. It's people who are already reading comics, who know that there's more than 60 years of continuity that they're missing out on, and kind of generally know, like, if something's different as an adaptation. You know what I mean? And like with an Iron Man example, Pepper Potts was married to Happy Hogan for years in comics. He dies. I think it's in Civil War. I think he dies in Civil War. And then, after Iron Man the movie came out, she's no longer mourning her husband. She's just flirting with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's like, but it's you're disregarding the comic thing. Or how
and it's not like this is an alternate universe or anything. This is main universe canon.
Yeah, this is 616, stuff.
Yeah.
And if, it's just, I don't know, I just wish that I wish that they would stop trying to make the comics like the movies. The movies, Tony Stark in the movies is not Tony Stark in the comics. Tony Stark in the comics is a very different character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, if you were to cast comic book Tony Stark, I would probably say Ed Norton.
I could agree with that.
Because like, if you read Iron Man, like, he's much more of a somber character.
Yeah.
Like, he's not Robert Downey Jr. He's much more, he's a recovering alcoholic, and he's someone who, he makes a lot of mistakes, and he doesn't really, let him forgive himself for it.
He's a very human character.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates an interesting parallel where Tony Stark is a very human character who has a very non-human alter ego.
Right.
And that creates an interesting dynamic for his character. Like, okay, there's the humanity of me being this eccentric billionaire playboy who has a lot of responsibilities, but then there's also being a superhero
mm-hmm.
with a very non-human outlook that can do all these extraordinary things thanks to technology.
Right.
It's very interesting, and with Robert Downey Jr. not dumping on him in any way, shape, or form.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
It's great, but he's just an asshole. He's just a likable asshole.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's
all he is in the movies.
He's the captain of the football team.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to talk out of my ass here. I'm not an authority on Iron Man comics. I've read a few here and there, and I have a fair understanding of the character. I've read a good chunk of the Invincible Iron Man comics, and again, I'm not an authority on this, but even I can understand the basis of what this character is about and how movie version of this character differs greatly.
Right. Well, I mean, he's Howard Hughes in the MCU. That's what he is. He's kind of just Howard Hughes. And that's not Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark. But again, the movies were different, and if they make, I mean, they went a little bit with that in Fractions Run. I still haven't finished Fractions Run. I'm like most of the way through it. I think I got like 1 or 2 volumes left. But they haven't really done a lot with, like, they haven't really made him movie Iron Man, which I'm glad for.
Yeah. But who knows how long that's going to happen? I mean, look at Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, that was
a very underrated property that didn't have immense exposure, that basically bent to the will of the movie after its success.
Right.
And that's sad.
But, like, and that would have been, and that's, I'm just saying, like, let's not, because I feel bad for comic book writers right now, because not only are they having to deal with, like, events every fucking 60 months to a year, you know what I mean? Not to mention Marvel's destroying their characters. Let's take as much as I don't like Captain America, like, as a character conceptually, why would you take him and make him a Nazi?
Well, that didn't exactly happen. In the middle of it, they retconned it, so that wasn't the case. That wasn't the real Captain America. But stupid shit like that doesn't leave dedicated fans' minds.
Yeah, it kills part of the character when you have Captain America saying "Hail Hydra." Yeah,
it's interesting if you want to do, like, one-off comics that experiment with new ideas.
That's good for like an Elseworlds or a What If.
Yeah, like the stuff they used to do way back in the day. They did some really weird ideas way back in the day, but since they don't do that anymore, pulling shit like this isn't acceptable.
Yeah, like, it would have been, like I said, that's a What If. That should be a What If. That should not be main continuity shit.
Yeah, and how long before crap like that gets adapted to film? But that's taking away from the point of it's just the movie, all of this media is having a significant effect on the comics, and that's basically ruining them.
Right.
And it's unfair. I mean, I know people left and right that I know personally, different amounts of closeness and whatnot, that almost get all of their influence from the movies and other media outside of comics.
Right.
And I don't have the heart to tell them that they're kind of the problem that's negatively impacting this stuff.
Right. Well,
when you get all your information and preference from this stuff and don't take the time to read the comics, you are doing more harm than good.
Well, and there's a difference between people who just don't know. Like people like I've run into people who like will just not know stuff from the comics, but know from the movies, but they're not trying to be vindictive about it. You know what I mean? They just don't know.
There's not really a nice way to say it. There are people that have that innocence where it's just they don't really want to get too immersed in this stuff.
Yeah, they just
enjoy it because it's a movie, and that's fine. But then there are the people, and this is kind of mostly who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the people that consider themselves authorities just because they get all their information from this stuff.
Right.
But don't take the time to legitimately fact check the differences.
Well, it's like my fucking classmate who tried to tell me how to pronounce John Constantine's name. Or fucking yeah, Keanu was a really, he looks exactly like the character from the comics. Or like stuff like that.
Oh my god. Is this who I think it is?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Like, gee, good god, that's the shit I'm talking about. No awareness whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's fucking Constantine.
Actually, it's pronounced Constantine, because in the early part when Alan Moore was still writing the book, someone actually calls him Constantine because it's spelled phonetically, and he goes, "No, it's Constantine. It rhymes with line."
Well, I'm sorry, but that's what's stuck.
I know.
I know that's facts.
I totally pulled a comic book guy from The Simpsons. Worst crossover ever.
But no, the whole pronunciation thing, that's just common knowledge. That's the fact.
Right, well, and that's
what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's and people have different, some people say Constantine, some people say Constantine, and I usually don't think anything of it, but, with you, I'm joking around, obviously, people pronounce it different ways, like the TV show pronounced it Constantine, so that's just kind of what it is now.
But it's fine. I mean, we all have our different ways of speaking and that kind of stuff, but don't get in our faces about it is probably what I'm getting at.
Right, or
don't get all pissy about it.
Right.
And then say, Keanu looks exactly... Are you fucking dense?
Yeah.
You do realize that this movie is technically a loose adaptation of the material, right?
Like a very loose adaptation.
Very loose. If anything, it takes the name, the basic premise, and basic character traits, and nothing else.
Yeah. It kind of just throws everything else kind of out the window.
Which is what movies, mostly did around the time, and that was fine for the time.
Right. I mean, they made that movie now, people would be a little bit upset.
We'd probably be pissed.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean,
if it was still Keanu Reeves, I'd give it some slack.
Right. Well, and here's the thing. Looking at just the movie itself, not to get sidetracked, but it's a really good movie on its own. It's not a good adaptation, but as its own movie, if you were to change the names, it would be great.
Yeah.
It's great as its own standalone thing. It's not great as an adaptation of Hellblazer.
Yeah, and that's its benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fucking miracle that movie didn't affect the overall identity and future of that series.
Yeah, I mean,
it's fine. It was just a one and done movie that they made, and it just didn't really heavily impact anything related to that property.
Yeah, and
that's fine. I like that.
Yeah.
Constantine still has his identity, and we can, in the future, move forward with something potentially better.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah. But with this other big stuff, and again, mostly talking about Marvel, DC are not saints when it comes to this.
Oh, no.
They pull the same shit.
I mean, like the Flash. You know,
it's just disillusioning people. And again, there are the people that, just loosely watch it for the entertainment that it is, but then there are the people that watch it and call themselves authorities like they know what they're talking about, and don't take the people that watch this stuff do never take the time to read the source material and act like they know what they're talking about. Really get on my fucking nerves.
Oh yeah, and
it's really that and it's really that percentage next to that other one, mostly that's problems
or bandwagoners. You know what I mean? Like it's this hijacking of. I know I sound like comic book guy from The Simpsons, but it's hijacking of geek culture. It's these supermodels who will say in interviews like, "Oh, well, I'm a geek because I saw Star Wars," or like Big Bang Theory, where like they make jokes that my mom could make about Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like not that I watch Big Bang Theory because if I would, I would much prefer fucking arsenic, but please. But no, fucking like they'll make jokes like that anybody can make about Star Wars. You'll never hear them talk about the Mandalorians or fucking the Dawn of the Jedi or the Rule of Two or Darth Bane or
the deep stuff that you would only know if you knew your shit.
Exactly. Or Admiral Thrawn. That you'll never hear them make jokes about that because, well, we want the audience to get the joke where the joke is the character who isn't the geek doesn't get it. Like that's what bothers me the most is that the joke is they're talking about stuff that quote unquote normal people don't understand, but yet they still feel the need to make it where the audience can understand the joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's not really all that right.
Yeah, they'll talk about like, they'll make a reference to like, they'll say like, use the Force, Luke, which, okay, fuck you. And then like, someone will go, oh, what's that from Star Trek? And that's the joke, that they got it wrong. But like, that just makes the other person like look like an idiot because you go to anybody on the street and say, use the Force, Luke, what movie is that from? 90 to 95% of people are going to say Star Wars.
Yeah. That's common knowledge.
Yeah.
Even Trekkies even strict Trekkies would acknowledge that. They'd probably get pissed, but they'd acknowledge they know what that's from.
Well, I mean, it's not even a Trek versus Wars thing, but like...
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm just saying, though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, Trekkies. You guys, Trekkies can go enjoy their STD if they want.
Yeah.
Star Trek Discovery STD.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Or their pseudoscience bullshit.
Mm-hmm. But no, I'm just saying, like, they'll take that and they'll make it to where, like, it doesn't, like, that doesn't make sense because it's like, well, that person's either, because if they're, I don't know, I just, no. Mm-mm. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. It is. And I think it's really up for us to, like, unite however the hell we can and put our foot down and say, stop ruining our properties before it's too late.
Well, because here's the thing. Once everyone, like, once geek culture becomes uncool again, all these people are going to be like, oh, I never liked that stuff anyway. And then it's just going to be like, well, you guys came in, wrecked our house, and now we got to clean it up.
Yeah. It's like, because the money speaks louder, the studios are not going to realize this. No, everyone involved is not going to realize this. But if we're going to save geek culture and save our comic books from becoming watered-down, dumb interpretations thanks to the media that's being adapted based on them, we need to say something. Well, we need to make it clear that we don't want this.
And like I said, I'm fine with different interpretations, and I'm not saying, like, it isn't great to live in, like, this kind of modern age, but I feel kind of like, at a certain point, like, Because it's interesting, because if you go back and watch cast interviews for the first X-Men movie, I'm talking like X-Men 1, like back in like 2000.
Oh, yeah.
All of the cast is asked, did you read the X-Men growing up? And they said, oh, no, I never read comic books. I was never into that culture. Those same people asked that question during X-Men Days of Future Past. Oh, yeah, I loved X-Men growing up. It's probably one of my favorite comic books. It's like, yeah. I don't care which one, just give me an answer. Because here's the thing, I would respect these guys so much more if they're like, yeah, I never read them. As kids, I was never a comic book kid. But, like, I got the script and looked at the material when I was offered the role, and I really fell in love with the character.
Yeah.
I'd respect that. I'd be like, hey, good for you, man.
It doesn't go for everybody working on those movies. There were some good eggs in the cast of those films that took time out of their day to read that stuff, even though it was pretty much forbidden. But there were some people that took this shit seriously and wanted to know more about what they were getting into.
Right.
And I respect that. And that applies to pretty much all comic book movies where the cast takes the time to understand what they're getting into.
Well, like, and Charlie Cox is like what. Like that way. Like, he said, they asked him, like, I never read Daredevil or, like, really any comic books when I was a kid, but when I was offered the role, obviously it's a Marvel property, so I wanted to do it, and I went and read, and I really fell in love with the character. I'm like, that's awesome. I can respect that. You're not trying to bullshit me.
Yeah, he's being honest, and you can tell that he knows what he's getting into based on his performance.
Oh, and, like, in interviews, I think it's funny now, like, he'll reference, like, specific Daredevil events that, like, not everybody on Earth would know, but, like, not, like, deep, super, like, Daredevil stuff, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, he'll reference, like, kind of little things, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. You
can respect the guy. He knows his shit.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously did research, and I'm so excited because he's coming to MegaCon in Orlando, and I got tickets in May.
You gotta make him an offer for that one thing. That one thing we talked about.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I gotta get him to sign some Daredevil books, man.
If only I could have gotten you that Daredevil Hot Toys figure. He could sign that for you.
Oh my god. No, but yeah,
But yeah, he's a great example of that, and I really need to stop harping on this, but John Bernthal's the same.
Yep.
I mean, heck, when he was cast and got brought on to play the Punisher, one of the first things that he did to show that he was taking this seriously was show that he was reading Punisher comics.
Yeah.
He showed the fans that he was taking this seriously and read some of the best Punisher comic books to prepare to play this iconic character.
Right.
And I even remember watching an interview of his where he, I can't exactly remember this verbatim, but he went to a comic book store to get Punisher comic books to prepare for the role. Mm-hmm. And it's like the guy, the guy at the counter recognized him, and it's like, oh, cool, the guy recognized my work, and noticed that he was picking up these Punisher comic books.
And he said, no, you don't want this one. You don't want this one. You want this.
Yeah, just like started hand picking out the best stuff he should read, and Bertholt's like, okay, all right, whatever. And then the best thing I liked about it is the cashier told him, like, don't fuck this up. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he remembered and told that story just makes it all the more how serious he takes this.
Yep.
He got input from an actual fan regarding this.
Yep.
That might have just further improved his dedication and devotion to playing the Punisher.
Which I'm kind of sad because I wish Will Smith would have done that for Deadshot.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think Will Smith's Deadshot is bad. He's just not Deadshot.
Yeah. We need to be able. We deserve to see more of that.
Yeah, and I'm fine. And look, transfer from media is going to be. There's going to be changes. I mean, Affleck's Batman isn't exactly Frank Miller's Batman, and I'm fine with that, because at least it comes from a rooted place of that character, and every change was made for a reason.
For the context of that movie.
For the context of that movie, and that character, yeah.
Yeah, even though Zack Snyder's understanding of these characters might not be the best, but, it's... Right. I'll give it credit that it's different.
It's different.
Not in the best of places, because the reason I love Ben Affleck's take on Batman so much is because it's a loose interpretation of the Dark Knight. It's basically the anti-hero, the full-blown anti-hero that I want Batman to be, that I wish he could be, but I would never get in a million years.
Right. You know, I mean,
that's why I love it so much. It's based on my favorite version of Batman going full-blown anti-hero.
Yep.
I love it. But if I'm being realistic with myself as a person who likes Batman, it's not right.
Right.
I love it, but it's not accurate, and I admit that.
Right, but like it's
for what it is.
It's pretty darn close though.
And and it's even better when you know that Ben Affleck is a geek. He's into that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, fucking, he's a Batman fan,
Yeah.
Fucking.
Imagine he must have had like some kind of emotional response when he had to test fit the Batsuit for Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no, fucking
How much he loves that stuff.
Well, you heard speaking of Affleck, you heard the rumor about like how like he can't decide whether to get on or get off.
It's in his hands, man. It's in his hands.
Hey, whatever decision, I mean,
whatever he decides to make, the studio will find a way.
Wait, no, hey, like I said, I agree with you. Whatever decision he makes, support him 100%.
One movie's better than none.
Yep.
2 movies in a minor appearance, that's pretty good. So if he wants to step down and focus on other aspirations, it's good enough that he stuck around this long.
I mean, if I had to pick a Batman to be in a Justice League movie, it would be Affleck.
Of course, because he's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, of all the ones, I would have wanted in a Justice League movie, which came out yesterday. Yeah, it came out today. Which we need to do commentary on tomorrow.
Super.
So do you want to do a blind commentary for you? Because I've seen it.
Yeah, I think that we've established that as the plan. I will watch this movie first time for the commentary track.
Okay, cool.
And it's gonna be great.
Yep.
But yeah, going overall, the whole point is that we need to establish we don't want comic books to be tainted by the image of their media counterparts.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, I want the separation. Like okay, like like if they did a Batman movie and they had Riddler as the villain, but like they kind of changed the Riddler and kind of just made him like a completely different character for like the movie, and it worked for the movie. I don't want that Riddler character in the comics.
Yeah, there needs to be that separation where movies and other media can get away with these alternate interpretations, so long as that doesn't stain the identity and legacy in the comics.
Right.
Keep it contained.
I mean, we don't want
think of stuff like one-off comics.
Yeah. We don't want Sandman to be the person who killed Uncle Ben.
No. We want that to be that separation. I don't want to live in a world several years from now where the identity of some of my favorite characters has been drastically changed because the movies and other media had such a huge impact on the majority audience. Because face it, that dedicated fans like us are the minority, while your general audience is the majority.
Right. Well, and what also, like, you get so many, like, fake YouTube personalities that are like, I'm a real geek, Yeah. Like, and there's one example of, I won't name the names of the channel because, I don't want to be that guy. There was a channel that I used to watch, in which they were talking about Transformers 2, and they complained that Skids and Mudflap were destroyed in Transformers 2, and that these were iconic characters from the cartoon. Skids and Mudflap were made for the movie. They weren't actually from the thing. And that sound, that's a minor thing to pick up on, but it's just an example of, look, I would respect you more, because basically what that says to me is, I'm pretending to be a geek to waste your time. I don't know actually what I'm talking about. I'm just making it up. It would be I would respect it more if he would have just said, I don't know if these characters from the cartoon, but they were terrible. Because at least, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, and in that instance, I have again, I'm not a diehard Transformers fan. I grew up with it as a kid, but I have a very dear friend of mine who lives and breathes Transformers, and she would get furious at a statement like that. Where it's just, are you fucking dense? Are you blind? These characters were made for the goddamn movies. They have nothing. This friend of mine, she reads Transformers comics issue to issue as they come out. She's that invested in their world. And she would call anybody on BS if they started saying stuff that inaccurate stuff.
Right. Well, and
that's kind of where we are, and not as big of an enforcer as my friend, but we're kind of like that way too. Where if you take something that we love and start saying stuff that isn't true.
Yeah, and it's like
we're inclined to say something because we know you're wrong.
Right.
It's almost like an obligation.
Well, and like it's just. It's just, like I said, I would, it's like when people, are like, oh, the Dark Tower movie, is an example of people being like, oh, well, this and this and this about the mythology, and I'm like, no, it's this and this and this. Or, perfect example, another YouTube person, they did a video on, Pennywise from It.
Mm-hmm.
Love the Stephen King universe. I'm a Stephen King fanatic. I love that universe. I love.
Probably more about it than any other person I know.
Okay. And he was suggesting that Pennywise was the evil that was controlling the Overlook Hotel, and was the one thing that was controlling Cujo, and all of this stuff, trying to connect it, and stuff like that, and I'm like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Pennywise is not this super. Pennywise is not the Lex Luthor of the Stephen King universe. So it's just,
There's no big conspiracy. There's no. And that's another thing I can't stand is people that try to take inaccurate information and force it like it's fact, trying to force their theories and ideas on you.
Well, and that's what I don't like, is because millions of people watched that video. It has millions of views.
Yeah.
And people will take it because they think the person knows what they're talking about or doing their research. And if you do research into it, you will learn that's not what's happening. That's not.
Yeah, it's conflicting. It's contradictory information and only making things more confusing and worse.
Exactly.
You mentioned that example, and another great example. There's a YouTube channel. Won't give the name.
Right.
That likes to do Metal Gear theories. And around the time Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, they were popping out videos out the wazoo. Because one of the biggest theories surrounding Metal Gear Solid 5 is that Big Boss in the game is not actually Big Boss. And if you're a fan of the series, that the theory of that is not too far of a stretch given the kinds of things that happen in that series. And there's some interesting theories out there, and I'm probably just going to spoil the game outright if you have played it. It came out in 2015, so if you're a fan and you have played it, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, tough titty, whatever, it's a video game. But the big plot twist in the game is, no, you are not playing as the real Big Boss. You are playing as a decoy made as part of a higher plot, as a part of a bigger agenda. Mm-hmm. Which is fine. That was a hell of a plot twist. A good buddy of mine from Michigan sat on the idea that he sat on this being a reality while I was like, well, that can't be true. It wouldn't make any sense given the context of the series. And he rubbed it in my face, and we had a good laugh about it. Mm-hmm. But this YouTube channel went to great lengths to enforce the idea that though that the plot twist was true, that it was a completely different character. They wanted to enforce the idea that, oh yeah, this isn't the real Big Boss, and this is the person that's his decoy. And it's an interesting idea at first until you see that they are literally manipulating and forcing information on you to make their theory fact and what you should believe in, and that's not right.
Right.
Take the established information. Take the established information. Take the facts, and work with that. Don't stick to this. Don't stick to this hypothetical theory, and then pull bullshit out of your ass to make it true. I just saw that they posted a video recently confirming the true theory of Metal Gear Solid 5 and thought, you guys are just reinforcing the same goddamn theory like you did every other time. Right. You have no facts to back this up. You are just forcing inaccurate information down our throats and calling it what's true. And that's stupid.
Right. Well,
and for anybody that might be a newcomer to the franchise might get really confused by this.
Right.
And that's not right.
No, that's, and again, like, I mean, you and I are geeks and we do this stuff and we talk about all this shit, and we're just like, yeah. I mean, we don't sit here and we don't, we're assholes, but we don't talk out of our asses.
No, we do not like to troll you, the audience. We do the best we can to make sure that we have accurate information.
And even if we're not sure, we always say, this is just what we've heard. This is not fact. Until it's confirmed.
Yeah, and if we're incorrect about something and we don't rectify it, we will eventually.
Right.
We want to make sure that when we're conveying information to other people, that they're getting the most accurate information possible, because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. We don't want to be hashtag fake news.
Yeah, we don't want to be one of those channels that, aside from what we mainly do, that wants to just troll people into believing what we have to say because we're right and you're wrong.
Right, exactly.
There's actually another YouTube channel, won't give names, I guess that's going to be a recurring thing now, won't give names, that is doing...
Unless it's John Campea, because fuck that guy.
What?
Unless it's John Campea, fuck that guy. And Collider. I fucking hate those guys. Because those are the motherfuckers that were like, oh, Ben Affleck's going to leave Justice League and all this shit, and he's not going to do it. They've been saying that since fucking Dawn of Justice, since fucking 2015. Or 2016. Oh. Whatever. It was 2016, right?
Yeah.
They've been saying it for 2 fucking years.
Well, yeah.
Guess what?
Like I was saying, there's a YouTube channel. There's a YouTube channel that is part of the big hype surrounding Spider-Man on PS4. Mm-hmm. There's a YouTube channel that's basically posting frequent videos on their channel talking about theories and tidbits of information when they're literally just beating you over the head with the same thing. Right. They're not giving you new information. They are speculating. Nothing they are saying is fact. Yeah. And people watch the videos.
Yep.
And take it as fact. I scan the comment section, and only a handful of people realize that it's clickbait.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
If only, that's not cool that the rest of those people are being suckered into watching and taking time out of their precious day to watch this video that basically has no new information to offer.
Right.
Just so a person can succeed and continue to generate that sweet YouTube revenue.
That sweet YouTube money, though. That YouTube money, though.
This is what we get for being honest and blunt, because we can't get sponsorships.
Hashtag can't be sponsored.
We'll never be sponsored.
We'll never be sponsored.
And forget it. We don't need sponsors. We're good. We're fine.
Unless someone rolls up with a giant check, in which we will be sponsored.
But no, it should be about relaying. It should be about relaying honest, accurate information.
No, it should, and I agree. And this, it's. Like, going back to, this collider of, like, oh, Ben Affleck's gonna leave Justice League. If I had a time machine, and I fucking went back to 2008, and I made a YouTube video and a channel that basically started the rumor that Robert Downey Jr. was gonna leave the Iron Man role. He wasn't gonna do the Iron Man any more Iron Man movies. And I kept saying it up until he died in Infinity War. Could I claim, I told you, see, he's going to leave the role. He left Iron Man, guys. They killed him off. Because that's basically what they're doing, is they're calling it. They're saying he's going to leave the role, and they're going to keep saying it, and they're going to keep taking things out of context to keep the story relevant, and then when he finally leaves the role, they're going to say, see, we called it. He's going to leave the role. See, we called it.
Yeah, it's just unthinkable that people are doing this.
Well, and it's you know, and
it's unfair, and it's just negatively impacting the culture.
Right, and
where,
you know, like here's like it was kind of what I talked about before. Geeks have become the bullies now. Or bullies are now pretending to be geeks.
If you don't like all this big budget mainstream stuff, you are the outsider.
And look, I like superhero movies. I think we've made that perfectly clear. But I also like art films. I love Shape of Water. It's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. It's so good.
We love a little of everything.
Yeah.
That's clear.
1922. Really good adaptation of Stephen King's story.
God damn, it's still on my watch list. I need to watch that.
It's really good.
I'm a big Thomas Jane fan.
Yeah, you know.
I haven't watched this yet.
Yeah. No, and
he made a great thriller on Netflix, and then almost immediately after he made another thriller on Netflix that sucked.
Yeah.
Kind of ironic.
Mm-hmm. But no, like, you know what I mean? But like these people who like, oh, well, we're the geek culture, you know, we're all this stuff. And it's like, all they talk about is geek culture. And don't get me wrong, I mean, that's what we do on here. But like I said, there are things I love that aren't, like, geeky. I mean, I've never considered myself a sports fan, but fucking I understand how the fucking sport is played. You know, like these people who are, like, pretending to be geeks, like, I don't know what a football is. Really? Really? So basically what you're saying is that, like, everyone who likes science fiction, fantasy, and all that doesn't know how to play a sport, or doesn't know how to work out, or doesn't know how to do anything outside, unless it involves like a robot or something. My argument to that is one fucking person, and the mascot of our show, Keanu fucking Reeves.
I wouldn't say the mascot, but...
Would you not want Keanu as our mascot?
I mean, it'd be nice.
Exactly.
Maybe as a strict partner, but I wouldn't say mascot. He's just a really cool guy.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm just saying, like, there are people who, you know, actually, you know, geeks are just fucking people.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, there doesn't have to be, like, this there doesn't have to be, like, this immense separation. It's like, we're just people that have very particular interests in things, and...
Yeah. You know, it's so difficult to talk about. Just because you're a gamer doesn't mean you don't know how to talk to women or, you know, stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, we're all different.
Yeah.
No need to get all edgy about it.
Yeah.
It's difficult to talk about because it's just such a hot and relevant topic that's just no real progress is being made. It seems like the situation's only getting worse.
Right. Well, in fact,
because there's just so many toxic elements to it that are just making it worse.
Right. Well, and I think what perpetuates the stigma of it is the high school geek. Because here's the thing. I'm going to let everyone in on a secret now. Everybody's fucking awkward as shit in high school. If I could go back in time, I would slap the shit on myself in high school. You know what I mean?
I beat the shit out of myself. I would literally just beat myself to a pulp.
Right. We fucking hate the person we are in high school. And particularly if you're a geek, because fucking, you know, you're just in that awkward fucking phase of life. And... you know, and it perpetuates that statement. But the problem is, or the thing is, we all fucking grow out of that awkward thing, and then we get comfortable with ourselves in our 20s. And we all put on a little fucking weight, and we're like, God damn it, I need to go to the gym more. And you're like, well, it's too fucking far to walk, and I'm tired, and I want to sleep in and nap. But, you know, the point...
Yeah, exactly. It's this thing. It's just difficult. Like we all need to, like, a lot of things need to be redressed, and we all just need to get along and understand what's right, what's wrong, all that stuff.
Right. You know, there was, did you ever see the show Con Man?
No.
I watched the first season of Con Man. It's everything I hate about people's interpretation of geek culture. It's you know what I mean? It's like, you know, like it's I don't know, I just, you know, it and I just didn't find it funny, you know. But again, maybe I just don't have that sense of humor taste. But like watching it, like, because I was looking forward to it, because like the whole thing was like, we don't want to do this with the studio because it was a Patreon, it was self-funded. It was, or not so, it was a Patreon. It was a GoFundMe of like, you know, hey, because it's Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk, who, you know, were, you know, icons from Firefly and stuff like that, and the whole show is kind of like an homage to Firefly. I was looking forward to it. I didn't give any money, but I was looking forward to the show. And I was just like, you know...
Yeah.
Disappointed. So...
That happens, man. That progression.
Yeah, you know... But hey, you know...
But I think the verdict there is a lot needs to change. We can do better, and it doesn't need to be such a toxic environment, and... It should be a space that all of us can equally enjoy and should get the same everything out of.
Yep. Except the sports fans. Fuck those guys. I'm kidding.
Kidding.
Yeah, you know, it's just it's you know, I don't know. I just, you know, it's an interesting thing to notice, because usually, like, after a while, you can watch a YouTube channel and see. Because I have my old YouTube channel that I want to delete, but, like, part of me is like, I just keep it up for fun. If I upload a video, I upload a video. But, like, I go back and watch the old high school videos that I put up. I'm so awkward, and I'm trying to please everybody, and I don't know what I'm doing,
right,
and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know, I just come off as this weird little weirdo with a camera, because I was. You know, but...
Well, same thing. I look back at my personal YouTube channel, and it was just, I went through so many different cycles. I wanted to do so many different things, but there was just no way to balance all of them out in this same space. Like, what I wanted to do was something a person would do over multiple channels. It couldn't fit all into one, so I just went through all these different cycles. And as I got older, I just realized I just need to create a space where I can just take all of these creative ideas and realize them to a certain extent. And that became this.
Yeah.
And now I use the personal channel to just do personal videos whenever I get around to doing that.
Yep. You know,
it's evolution.
Yep.
But there was a growth and lesson to be learned there.
Yeah, exactly.
Changing with development and time, whereas somebody else would change with the times in probably the worst of ways. Where it's just, I want to do all these different things, but in order to generate the best results and revenue and all that crap, I have to turn into something that isn't ethically good, but gets attention.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, like, well, and kind of back to the thing. I'm not a gamer. I've never claimed to be a gamer. I play games, but I am certainly not a gamer. Like, if you look at my games collection, I can name you the games on PS4 that I own. The games I own.
Because I'm looking at my shelf.
The games I own on PS4 are Alien Isolation, Deadpool, Until Dawn, Lego Batman 3, Lego Dimensions, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Grand Theft Auto 5, Last of Us, Ratchet and Clank, Batman Arkham Knight, The Wolf Among Us. Those are all my PS4 games.
You poor man. You are missing out on so much.
No, and I know that, but I'm not, like, a gamer. So, like, it doesn't, like... You know what I mean? Like, I have a DS. Yes. You know what I play on that? I play Chrono Trigger and I play Pokemon.
You're missing out on so much, too. Well, I don't directly identify as a gamer either. It's like, I consider myself a game enthusiast because I don't play intensively or competitively. I just like the journey.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. But like, I'm not sitting up here being like, oh, I know games or something like. I'm just like, I don't know. Is that good? Is that like, I know.
There's a balance. For me, as an individual, there's a balance of I know a lot about movies. I know a lot about comic books. I know a lot about video games. There's just a lot of knowledge that's stored up here that I'm aware of. There's a balance to all of it.
You're just an encyclopedia. You're an encyclopedia of bullshit.
I guess there's just a lot that I know, but I don't make that like a superpower or put myself on a high pedestal. It's just I know a lot about these things because I enjoy them very much, and I've managed to find, and I most of the time manage to find time for all of them.
Exactly, But yeah,
and that just reflects how passionate and interested I am in these things.
Exactly.
And that could apply to anybody else. I mean, for you, it's you do watch a lot of films, read a lot, and play video games every now and again. It's just a balance of the things you like and how you find the time for all of them.
Right. Well, and also just collecting records because I love fucking records.
I want to do that someday. When I'm gonna get a vinyl player, I want to start collecting records.
Oh, when you fucking move in, you just fucking listen to my shit.
We just keep talking about the master plan.
The master plan, man. It's the master plan.
Because everybody wants to room with their best friend to get to just live life perfectly.
Exactly. Just be chilling.
Make a hell of a sitcom. A good one.
The sitcom, you silly, yeah. But fucking, yeah.
Yeah, because there aren't enough buddy comedies already out there.
Exactly. Fucking,
yeah. Exactly.
Fucking exactly.
We're gonna be fine.
It is 1:21 in the morning. So, let's fucking, do we want to hit anything up before we kind of head out? Because I'm thinking we should kind of wrap it up here.
Okay, there's I think we talked so long, but how much did we actually talk about? Because there was just a lot of things that happened, and I don't know if I want to cover some of this or if it's even worth giving the benefit of the doubt. I'm just gonna go to the recent stuff.
Okay.
Let's see.
You cannot hum this song because Disney will sue your ass.
I guess out of all there really isn't. I mean, there's some notable stuff to talk about, but nothing oh my gosh. I mean, it was a pretty good day, but I think the only devastating news that I read today was the Predator's getting pushed back.
What?
Yes, by a month.
Okay. Whew. Okay.
I know. I had a heart attack when I read the headline, but then it was just confirmed. Oh, it's just getting pushed. It's getting moved from August to September. That's it.
Do we even have a trailer? Do we even have a trailer for that?
No, we do not. We have pictures, and then the real Nats kicker is, what was it? Alita is being pushed back from July to December. That's probably what's kicking everybody in the Nads. I honestly don't care about this movie, so whatever. Take away from that what you will.
That's the James Cameron one, right? With Robert Rodriguez directing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's I've seen pictures of it. I think it doesn't look that, based on the pictures from the movie, it doesn't look all that interesting to me. So I don't really care that I got pushed back, but I was surprised. Wait, the Predator is getting pushed back, and then I read, oh, it's just by a month.
But that's a month we won't live in a world without with a Shane Black Predator movie.
Well, that's just one of the few things I'm actually looking forward to.
I know.
It's so much is coming out this year, but it's not really a hot streak of great stuff.
I wonder when we're gonna get our first trailer for that.
Hopefully soon. Not too soon, but soon.
Yeah.
Another month. Give it a few months.
Yeah, give it a month. Okay.
It's fine.
I'd say around, because it comes out this year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But as a whole, there's just not a whole lot of big movies that I'm looking forward to. This year is kind of big, but in a very small way.
Right.
There's only so much stuff I'm actually looking forward to.
It's another Avengers movie. It's another Star Wars movie, you know?
Well, that's why Venom is such a big deal to me, because it's kind of going to be like a sleeper hit.
Right.
And that doesn't come out until near the end of the year, and it's going to be fine.
Well, next year, I think, is when we get John Wick 3.
It is. We get it early next year. And I can't wait to see the trailer for that.
Oh, excited.
Because I just can't get enough Keanu Reeves.
Do you think...
And then another thing I wanted to gloss over is the paranoia as a result of Disney going more in with their platform for all of the stuff that they own.
Oh, yeah.
But it's been confirmed that the current shows are not going anywhere. So for everybody that's paranoid about the whole, the Netflix and Hulu, all this is going to move to the Disney platform, we're screwed. You have nothing to worry about because here's the big reason, and I thought about this a day or two ago. You have nothing to worry about because Disney does not have the balls to touch these.
Yeah.
They will not touch these. When
Maybe.
People think, Disney owns Marvel, you have to understand, this is kind of an ignorance thing, because not a lot of people know this, but they do not actually own Marvel. They own the rights to their characters.
Right. I mean, There's
a big difference.
Marvel's its own company. You know?
Yeah.
Disney is more focused on Star Wars.
Yeah. That they actually technically do own. But as far as Marvel goes, they just own the rights to their characters. That is all.
Right.
But when you think about it like this, when you think about the Marvel movies and everything that's a result of that, think about how characters that are prominently featured in Netflix shows, excluding Luke Cage and Iron Fist, think about how those other characters do not make appearances in any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's because Marvel doesn't directly own them.
Yeah.
They do not. They have closely coordinated collaborations with Marvel about these kinds of things, but as far as owning these characters, they do. Excuse me, voice is dry for some reason. They do not.
They basically, Disney's kind of like, listen, as long as the movies make money and we get money, we're fine.
Yeah, they will always be there to cash the checks.
Yep.
But as far as micromanaging characters they will do absolutely nothing with, they're not going to do anything about it.
Because I don't... Well,
the reason why I like the Netflix shows more than the movies is because it's the kind of grounded, realistic, and gritty stuff that you won't get to see in those movies because that just doesn't fit the family-friendly mold that makes a ton of money.
I mean, could you imagine... Oh, God, sorry. Could you imagine Daredevil just showing up in Infinity War?
I could.
I mean, I would love that. I would love it, you know.
Yeah, but it won't happen.
I'm surprised they haven't, I'm still surprised they haven't teased it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's reasons behind that. But the gist of it is, the reason why the Netflix shows and everything else are going to be unaffected is primarily because Disney does not have actual direct control over this.
Well, and what I'm worried about is okay, so what shows are going to go on there? Are we going to get a Ghost Rider show on there, or is all that stuff just going to go to Netflix?
I think. Well, another thing I was going to mention is I don't really know what the situation with Ghost Rider is. I want to say that was just a very collaborated decision. Because again, I've only seen clips, but Ghost Rider is very censored on his role in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
this is a very cut down interpretation of how he is in the comics.
Right.
And again, I think they're taking advantage of the fact that this version of Ghost Rider is the most recent incarnation, and since it's still pretty fresh, they can get away with doing different things with it.
Yeah.
Because if it was Johnny Blaze, everybody would step up and be like, "That's not right. That's not the real Ghost Rider." But since it's somebody else, they can get away with that. Well, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they said, "All right, you guys have the rights to Ghost Rider. I'm pretty sure you guys are anxious to put him back in the media. We'll meet you halfway. We'll let you do that, but we'll let you do it our way, so everybody's happy."
All right. Well, I mean, if they do Ghost Rider, an actual Ghost Rider, I want Dan Ketch, not Johnny Blaze. Because Dan Ketch Dan Ketch is the one that had everything that everyone remembers Ghost Rider for.
Right.
Danny Ketch had the penance stare. He was known as the Spirit of Vengeance. You know, he when you think Ghost Rider, you think Danny Ketch. He's the one with the chain. Johnny, I don't believe, ever had the chain until after.
Yeah, I can't exactly recall it right now, but I think you're right.
I think, yeah, I'm like 95% sure Johnny didn't have the chain.
Yeah,
that was Danny.
But yeah, I think Netflix would be the perfect space for the characters that Disney won't dare to do anything serious with.
Can we trade Iron Fist for Ghost Rider?
I would gladly barter that trade.
You know, fucking put him on the Defenders.
Yeah, because if Disney had 100%, if they owned the rights and had 100% control of these characters, they would literally be sitting on a shelf.
Yeah.
They won't dare to do anything with them because there's absolutely no conceivable way that they can approach these characters that would fit their mold and satisfy everyone.
Right.
So leaving them in a space where they are allowed to be to be freshly interpreted while still retaining their identities to satisfy everybody, diehard fans especially, and cash the checks. Yeah. Well, it's gonna stay the way it is.
I still want to see the Disney princesses swoon over Frank Castle.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Punisher kills the Disney universe.
Punisher. No, fucking imagine Beauty and the Beast, like, Beast is on the balcony and shit, and fucking all of a sudden you just hear a sniper rifle and fucking right in the fucking eye! Right in the fucking eye!
No, wait, you swap out the Beast with Frankencastle.
So wait,
it is about him rediscovering his humanity and turning into regular Frank Castle again.
God, that was such a fucking stupid story.
That's why I mentioned it.
Oh my god. Could you imagine if that's season 2?
Why, just beginning of the series, Jigsaw gets his revenge, and Frank spends the entire season as Frankencastle.
Yes.
Well, that would be a huge kick in the pants, but it's already been confirmed. But it's already been loosely confirmed, thanks to a casting call, that it's actually going to be taking heavy inspiration from the Punisher Max comics, starting with the Slaver storyline.
Okay.
Which I liked because I recently reread that, and now that it's kind of refreshed in my mind, it's just like, oh, they're really fucking serious. Mm-hmm. They're taking inspiration from like the best Punisher comics.
I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to season 3 of Daredevil, man. Just give me that.
Hey, we are getting that late this year, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's in production right now. I think we're getting it late this year, and then next year we're getting season 2 of the Punisher, and I can't wait to see him go full Frank Castle. And not that I've disapproved of the extensive origin story and build up to him becoming the Punisher, but it was really well told, and I can't wait to see Frank just fully embrace that identity and go just killing the bad guys.
The Punisher honestly feels like the true successor to the first season of Daredevil. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It does. Because
although I'm gonna say this and you're gonna hate me, season 1 of Daredevil was better. I'm sorry, man. I gotta stick by my boy. Just like you gotta stick. I would not expect you to admit that.
No, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna outright say that I agree, because Frank Castle
is your boy.
He's right. He's awesome. He's just awesome.
Yeah,
best.
I cannot fucking wait to go to MegaCon and just fucking get a picture with Charlie Cox. I'm gonna make that my Facebook profile.
Yeah, I'll give you a reason to update it.
Oh god, I do need to fucking update it. I always forget to update shit because I'm like, it looks enough like me. I don't fucking care, you know?
No, I'm the same way. It's like if like I haven't changed mine in months, and I'm too lazy to change it.
I still need to change my cover photo because it's the Defenders.
I'm not changing mine for a long time. I will change mine. I will change my cover photo when Spider-Man comes out. When we get a release date, I will change it then.
You mean Venom?
No, I'm pretty sure Spider-Man is coming out by the middle of this year. So I can enjoy that for a while, and then Venom comes out later this year, and I'll change it for that.
Spider-Man comes out. I don't get what you're saying.
The game?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the movie. I'm like, there's a movie?
No, hell no. I love Spider-Man, but again, I've probably voiced my positive yet mixed thoughts about Spider-Man Homecoming already, and that's not enough for me to actively present that I'm anticipating the next film.
Yeah. I mean...
but that's just how I am.
Right.
Like, I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is still probably my most anticipated game of this year until a new Splinter Cell gets announced.
I want a release date so bad because because I graduate my school ends at the end of June. Like, I graduate in July. I want to have some time to play it before I have to move.
If we don't get a release date, I'm still sticking by the possibility that it's coming out sometime after God of War. So the closer we get to April, or maybe even afterwards, we get a release date. Worst case scenario, it gets a release date at E3 of this year, and we have to wait until the summer to play it.
Yeah.
There was a time when I wanted the game as soon as possible, but now it's just, you know what? I'm taking a step back, I'm reevaluating and realizing that I can wait for this. It's painful, but as long as Insomniac is not blowing their wad by showing us screenshots and clips and teaser videos and shit like that all the goddamn time, which thank God they aren't doing, I have enough restraint to wait patiently for this, and I'm still looking forward to it. Again, until E3 happens and we get and Ubisoft surprises me with a new Splinter Cell game.
So can Insomniac get to work on my Daredevil game?
Well, they seem to be very lightly vocal on Twitter. Maybe you should just pitch that to them. Like, we don't know what the situation's like, but is there any chance you could, talk with executives and see if you can get a Daredevil game made?
Yeah.
Or just use, I really would love it because, let's see, like, the Punisher's already had a perfect game. It's incredibly dated at this point, but he's had a perfect game. Daredevil's is one of our few favorite characters. Your favorite, one of my favorites.
Yep.
Characters that has not had his own game.
Yeah.
He's had a shitty Game Boy game, like Game Boy Advance game back in the day, based loosely on the shitty movie.
Yeah. But
we need a fucking game that's doing what Spider-Man's doing and taking the best of everything Daredevil and putting it in a game.
Oh, my God.
So somebody give us that, damn it.
Yeah, fucking, I mean, we have the technology.
We do have the technology.
And
I'm still hypothesizing that Marvel Games still has some surprises up their sleeves.
Well, fucking like
we just wait.
Because here's the thing: when we get a release date for Spider-Man, I think we're gonna get a trailer for that Avengers game.
Yeah, I'm thinking once Spider-Man's out, once the Avengers project is fully unveiled and closer to release, Marvel might blow the lid off in some of their other games that they're working on.
Yeah, and then
fingers crossed for what do I want? Top of the list, Daredevil game, because that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Dream game, a open world kick-ass Punisher game.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Any chance we could get another kick-ass Wolverine game?
Any chance we could get a good X-Men game?
A good X-Men game would also be nice. Would also be nice. And by any chance, if there were to be a new Wolverine game, can we get Mark Hamill to come back and do the voice?
Yep.
Can we get that? I think what would be a nice meeting us halfway is if we don't get the Insomniac treatment where we get the best of both worlds for a video game, like on Daredevil, I would be willing to settle for a video game based on the Netflix show.
Yeah.
I'd be cool with that. Whatever works.
As long as it's not treated like a movie tie-in.
Yeah, not a movie tie-in, like just set within the world. It has its own original story. It's got the same character, same premise, same world, tone, everything, but it's its own original narrative that isn't really connected to anything. It's kind of treated like an anthology thing.
A Black Panther game would be kind of cool too.
Maybe after people calm the hell down and the hype eases up.
No, I want a Blade game. Give me a Blade game.
There was a Blade video game.
No, a good Blade.
Two. There were two. There were video games for the first two movies, and they sucked ass.
I want a good Blade game. That'd be cool.
That would be awesome. Just killing vampires.
The people who did what was that Evil Within doing a Blade game?
You want Tango Gameworks to do an Evil Within style Blade game.
That'd be kind of cool.
How would that work though? You're talking. I can kind of picture it, but I mean, you're talking about a strictly Japanese studio that does horror, doing. I can picture it, but how would that work? I mean, it's not really much. The Evil Within really isn't much of an action game. It's got action elements, but it's mostly about the horror, whereas Blade has horror elements, but is mostly action. It's a slippery slope, but I guess maybe.
Well, would you rather have it done by them or Telltale?
Well, I was gonna say the worst case scenario is if Telltale does a fucking Daredevil game.
Oh God, I would cry. You would hear me cry on the podcast. I would cry.
Just so I'm not confused, would these be tears of sadness or joy?
Sadness.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I'm really contemplating about playing the Batman Telltale series just to see what the fuss is about. But at the same time, I don't want to because I don't want to fuel their ego.
Well, and here's my thing. Because what pisses me off is I'm fine with the Telltale Batman game because we have the Arkham trilogy. We don't have that for Daredevil. And his one video game would be Telltale? No, we have the technology to make a good game with Daredevil.
Yeah. I mean, don't end up like Guardians of the Galaxy. That works for them, but that ruins all the possibility of them getting like a cool team-based shooter.
Yeah.
Whereas for Daredevil, you give him a kick-ass open-world action game.
Like, mixed with LA Noire, that would be fucking amazing.
Well, yeah, I think we've discussed it before, but the perfect combination for this thing would be the action elements that would basically be take the Arkham formula, and I really say that kind of hesitantly because because so many games only did an excellent job at ripping off that game's mechanics.
Yeah.
But make it an Arkham-style game, but within the world of Daredevil.
Right.
Where you have that awesome rhythm-based combat mixed with some investigation work. But instead of just going around a crime scene and scanning clues, you actually have to use deductive reasoning and, crime-solving skills to figure this crap out.
Phoenix Wright meets Arkham Knight.
Yeah, you actually have to, yeah. Matt Murdock is a smart guy, and the thing I dislike about the crime scenes in the Arkham games is it's literally you just scan the information. You literally just scan the information and you have the clues.
It might as well be a QuickTime event.
Yeah. I mean, Arkham Origins had a pretty interesting mechanic where you have to recreate crime scenes and construct the events of what happened. But even then, you're just doing procedural stuff here.
Yeah.
You're not really using your noggin to figure this out. So where Daredevil could really shine is having to use his deductive reasoning, his intelligence, his wits, and his senses to put together what happened in a crime scene.
Right.
Use his knowledge of being a lawyer and his slight investigative skills under that profession and as a crime fighter.
Well, because if he's investigating a scene, he's at a crime scene, and you gotta you gotta use your different senses. You gotta you scan your hand over a certain area to see if something was written, and then you gotta spell it out. Using the touchpad on the PS4 to try and figure
The way I treated it was kind of treat Daredevil's senses like Batman's utility belt.
Right.
Where each of his different senses creates a different kind of filter,
right.
A different kind of visual that you would see that would point out specific things in your environment, and you would have to use that deductive reasoning, those crime fighting skills, to piece together and look and know what to look for.
Right.
Say you're in the middle of a crime, you're in a crime scene and a murder just happened. You have to use your sense of smell, your sense of hearing, and all of that stuff to put together exactly how the crime went down. Pick up the clues so you have a sort of breadcrumb trail to work off of, and solve it.
Yeah.
Like, don't just scatter the clues around. Make us just enable a special filter. We find all of them like a small little scavenger hunt, and then boom, we just solved it.
Boom. And then we gotta have scenes where we get to accuse people in court. Be like, he's guilty, Your Honor. What is your evidence?
That's where I think Telltale Batman's format could kind of come in here, where there's two sides to the gameplay, where there's a very linear narrative focus where, during the day, you got Matt Murdock doing what Matt Murdock does, and at night you got Daredevil doing what Daredevil does.
Yeah.
There would be a nice duality to that, and I'm not saying that this would be a very smart mechanic unless done really well, but maybe add some duality to it where maybe you can handle certain situations better as Murdock or better as Daredevil.
Yep. Well, and then
very easily, of course.
Right. Well, and then depending on if you win a case or not, like if you get, if you help someone who is innocent, and Daredevil only helps innocent people. If you prove that someone's innocent later on in another case, maybe they give you information because it's like, hey, you helped me out, let me help you out.
Yeah, it's the way you choose to approach and progress through the game, and the way you handle situations can benefit the open-ended nature of your journey. And I'm not saying give the game, and I don't let this mean don't give the game multiple endings or branching paths. Like, give it branching paths where the decision, everything you do can have, there can be different variables or consequences to your actions and different branching possibilities as a result of them, but still have it, come around to a solid conclusion.
Right. Have
your opening, have your ending, and then have all these branching possibilities as the middle.
Right. Well, and then, and I still think, Daredevil game would be, one of the coolest things you could do DLC for, as long as they don't fucking EA it up. But, free downloadable content where here's a new fucking case.
Yeah, well, I think an area where I'm hoping Spider-Man shines is that Insomniac, as an incompetent developer, basically just packs all the content you could want onto one disc.
Yeah.
And if they want to add stuff post-game, that's fine.
Right.
But everything they have in mind for the game, extra in-game content, costumes, all of that stuff, is on the disc from day one. Right. And if they want to add stuff afterwards, cool. I know LA Noire kind of had this thing where you have a game that's packed with a lot of things to do, but if you wanted some extra cases to solve, you could get those.
Yep.
And they added to the world, they added to the experience, and gave you extra stuff to do. So, yeah, a Daredevil game could definitely take that approach where, the main game is packed with so much to do and so many different ways to play the game, all kinds of different Daredevil costumes you could wear to replay the game through.
Yep.
But at the same time, if you wanted extra stuff to do as Daredevil,
yeah,
you have extra DLC at post-launch that you could purchase to add onto your experience.
Well, and then,
not part of the fucking season pass.
Yeah, well, and fucking right. Fucking,
Well, Marvel seems to be handling, I think Game seems to be handling that pretty well.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any confirmation of any kind of season pass for Spider-Man. I know Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite had some extra downloadable content. I don't think they had a season pass. I know they had extra downloadable costumes and characters, which in a sense is kind of different. I know it was kind of a dick move given some of the characters. But the point is, post-launch, if you wanted extra characters to add to your roster, you could do that. It wasn't the best way to approach it, but if you wanted extra stuff to extend your game time, you had that option. And I think that's a really nice approach, in a sense, where where the main experience is already packed with so much, but if you want a little something extra, they're going to throw you a bone and give you extra stuff to do if you want to pay for it.
Right. Well, hey, dude, I think
I think we've droned on enough.
All right. Well, thank you as always for joining us in this episode. If you if you like listening to us blabber, like the video, subscribe and comment. We always welcome that. So yeah, and we will see you in the next video, which this is going to go up. Well, it's 1:48 for me on Wednesday, so I'll probably upload this today. And then today also is when we'll do the commentary for Justice League.
Super!
And then I'll probably try to upload that tonight, if not tomorrow. So that'll be
Cool beans.
Thursday. But okay.
Oh.
So, yep. See you in the next video, guys. Bye.
Next time. Bye. Farewell.